Hello again, Tone Deaf Monk. Today, I am bringing you something that I was extremely fortunate to have loaned out to me. This is not a Chi-Fi IM. This is a $3,099 IM from the good old United States of America. In fact, it's from Norcross, Georgia, one of my favorite places because my smoker came from there, and they make good stuff. And anybody who can make good barbecue can make good IMs. Anyway, this is the Empire Ears Legend Evo Universal. Very cool IM. It's a very special IM. There is, and before I actually listened to it, when my friend said he was going to loan these to me, I looked it up and I went, wow, that is like 26 pages of tech speak. I hope it lives up to the hype. And then I stuck it in my ears. It lives up to the hype. Absolutely. Probably one of the nicest sounding IMs I have ever heard. Absolutely. Let's talk about it for a sec, shall we? So, 8-driver tribrid. And I've had a few that had bone conduction drivers. This one has a biggin, 10.9 millimeter bone conduction driver, mounted in a very unique way, done in a very unique way. So you've got that giant bone conduction driver. You can kind of see it there, but I'll post up a better picture of it I took in the light. It's mounted on the side, and I'll talk about that in a second. 2 subwoofers. Doesn't give me the size of those things. And 5 balanced armatures, again, unknown. A lot of these companies keep a lot of that information close to the chest, right? They're not going to reveal some of that stuff, but they do go over a whole bunch of their technology that they put into this and why it's $3,000. A 9-way crossover network. That's intense. Really intense. And in order to tune it, that is a massive achievement. And obviously, whoever tunes these Empire Ears has fantastic hearing. And a whole bunch of other stuff. I mean, but they're techie speak. And I'll just talk about that because if you ever decide to look it up, there is some stuff that doesn't quite make a lot of sense. What's really also to note, this thing it's a 3 ohm impedance, extremely low, which is also why, and I'll talk about later, that I use this iFi IE match. Because that made a massive difference. And it's also pretty darn efficient too at 108 decibels at 1 kilohertz at 1 milliwatt. So very efficient as well. Some of the things that they say in their techie speech doesn't quite make sense. They say that the bone conduction driver, the Weapon X, is mounted directly to the top of the shell, which it clearly isn't. It's mounted to the side. So I think you have to take a lot of the marketing stuff with a grain of salt, or they wrote it in a way or never bothered fixing it. I'm not sure. But what is quite apparent is they did spend an absolute shit ton of time to engineer this bone conduction driver. I mean, it is the best implementation I have ever heard in an IM. I mean, it works. It has some mojo. That is for sure. In fact, they were pretty darn sure that it was going to do some stuff. They did double, triple vents. There's a triple vent right there, you can see. And then on the other side, by the pin, that's not gonna work for me. Oh, yeah, come on. I hate when that does that. Anyway, there's another 3 vents there. That being said, when I do put these things in my ear, I did a slight driver flex as well, still, even with that. And that probably is those dual driver subwoofers as well. So, let's talk about. I love how they name their Weapon X is their bone conduction driver. Subwoofers X9, like, I love it. Why not? ARC, anti-resonant mitigation technology. And they talk about putting like a polymer. They don't go into too much details about inside of the shell to dampen resonance. It's kind of like what you do to a speaker cabinet, right? Where you'd put a dampening material in that to cut down unwanted vibrations and resonances, and obviously it works. Lots of stuff. I mean, that 9-way, first of all, the Sync X 9-way crossover is really complicated. I mean, I used to design crossover networks for audio, and a 9-way is mind-blowing. It comes with a nice cable that I didn't fool around too much. So 4.4 Pentacon, solid copper cable. It's a bit stiff and unwieldy, but after some of the stuff that came out in the lately about another one of their IMs, the Raven, where the shell was breaking apart because it's really thin, about just pulling the 2-pin out, I'm not touching it. It's not mine, first of all, and I would feel bad anyway. It would be horrible. Enough about the IMs. Let's go into sound. I do find it's quite cool that there is a couple companies that making these kind of IMs, like 64 Audio and Fur Audio, Empire Ears, that are US, and that obviously is probably going to drive up the pricing a bit, but obviously the technology and the time and the effort that they put into it, it's why this is a kilobuck IM. So let's start off with the thing that I think that stands out the absolute most out of this, and the vocals. The clarity is honestly off the chart. Not just the clarity of the mids and vocals, the smoothness of it is what really, really stood out to me. Like that. And the bass is absolutely visceral, authoritative, musical, punchy as hell, goes crazy low. It's probably the best bass I have ever heard, and quality. That's what also. So not only was the mids and the vocals stand out, the bass is also fantastic and standout. What about the rest of it? Like instrumental, pitch perfect. Honestly, pitch perfect. Great layering, separation, image detail. Highs. The highs are perfect. They're sparkly yet detailed. not too saturated in the mix to mess up vocals, and there's enough bass to to carry everything over. But the bass doesn't also, even though there's a ton of bass in there, it doesn't sound like an overly bassy IM. It just sounds like it's a bassy IM that I'm failing big time to describe what I'm hearing. I love bass, and I love a lot of bass, and this brings it to the table. It not only brings the bass to the table, but all of the vocals and the highs all together. There's not too many IMs that can pull that off in completely, and it really shows a couple things. The quality of the drivers, the tuning is absolutely outstanding. There is a couple things that will not make this perfect for everyone. Well, it's $3,099. That's probably one big one. Secondly, is these boys are chonky. They are freaking massive. Also, you know what? I'll show you. They actually fit me fantastic, and I have medium, large ears. But let's just do a fit test, shall we? So I hear that. I say, can put it in, and I hear a poop poop. Right? That's a driver flex. Even though the size of these things and the nozzles are quite short. So for me, I used a Whizzer Easy Tips SS20 tip, and I think a little bit one size smaller, so a medium, and it goes in fairly deep into my ears. And that's probably why the staging and the imaging is so damn good. The deeper you can get an IM, typically the better staging that you're going to get. In 3D effect, anyway. So, that being said, they fit great, but they're big, so they're not going to fit everyone, that's for sure. And of course, the costing as well. The crazy thing is, you could easily drive this thing off a phone at 3 ohms, right? And it will drive it. They're crazy efficient. So that's pretty cool. Of course, when it comes with this Pentacon cable, you're not going to shove that into your phone. It would be an owie, right? So don't do that. What else to say other than, I could have gone through lots of music and tracks, and I'll pull up a graph. And what I'll do is I'll kind of show you that as well. And some IAMs don't sound like they graph. They honestly don't. This one really does. I mean, yes and no. That being said, it's got pretty big bass shelf. You can see a little bump around 500 hertz, and that has to do, I'm pretty sure, with either the crossover network or the bone conduction driver. And that bone conduction driver, the Weapon X, must be the one responsible for not just adding presence in the bass, but and the dual subs, but also the way instruments just come across, and vocals even. I mean, it's just tuned really well. Now, that being said, if we're looking at this graph, it's got a pretty big bass shelf. I mean, what are you there? You're 10, 11 dB gain on on the sub bass and about 10 again on the Pinnagain that goes up pretty quick from typically I like a little bit more relaxed Pinnagain, but that being said, it just does it so well and so smooth that, and that's probably why vocals also sound so good. When you add tons more information in that 1K to 4K area, your vocals are going to be, fantastic. And this is where it really levels off, around 2K and very linear all the way across to 5K, dips down 6K, and still has an absolute ton of energy. But because it has tons of bass and mid bass, and none of that bleeds, by the way, into that I could. If it does, again, it's one of these IMs that if it does, the bass bleeds into the mid bass. It's done so well that you would just enjoy it. So, lots of energy in the highs, but again, it's just rolled off very, very smoothly. A wonderful tuning. I will repeat that word. Yeah, it some of the IMs I've listened to that, and because some hasn't fit me, like the Fur Audio XE6, I don't think I actually did a review from the one that I had listened to, just because it didn't fit me, and it wasn't great impressions. But other people would get the wow factor right from that, and if it doesn't really wow factor in me, I don't want to put it down, because what I'm hearing might be not what other people are hearing. But these ones fit me fantastic, and they did their job extremely well. Now, sources. Well, I honestly loved it with the Gishelli, the 4490-90X DAC, the J2, and the E2 amp. I really loved that combination, that stack, and I'll take a picture of that. That was magical with these, but I needed this i-fi IE match on ultra setting, because the 3 ohms, it just sounds better when you can push your amp harder. And that's what this thing does. It just smooths out the top end. It should honestly come, $4,000. This probably should have came with it, quite honestly. Or somebody who's buying this probably owns one of these. And then I can push that 2 watts per channel amp very well. What else did it go with? Well, it went with everything. The A90D with the other Gishelli DAC up here. And I was just doing some more listening with this kind of stack with the X-Duo XD05 Pro and Shanling as the DAC and source. I think I liked it with a warmer source. I liked it with a smoother source. I guess why the ACAM worked for me. Did I also like it with the ESS in the XD05? Yeah. But man, could you just chill? Like, honestly, the best, most relaxing set, not just at high volumes where you get to really, but even on low volumes, just as an absolute smooth, phenomenal set. And because it has bass at low volumes, it just sounds awesome whether you're just chilling out like that. And that's probably why I really enjoyed this set so much, is because I could enjoy it whether in low volumes and just chilling out, or whether I wanted to go super detailed. I was listening to some Royal Philharmonic Orchestra playing some Pink Floyd. If you haven't listened to that album, it's pretty fantastic, especially if you're a Floyd fan, which I am. And that was pretty awesome. In Excess. What else was I listening to? Metallica. Oh my God. I had a moment. It was like a palpitation in my ears. And I was listening to Give Life Back to Music by Daft Punk. And I heard things in the bottom end that I have never heard before that any IM could bring out. And that's where I used that word visceral. I mean, it was, I should have used ethereal, right? Out of body experience. It was that good. It really was. And it played it back in a way, not just, and you could really hear the bone conduction doing its thing. And it was super, super cool. What else? Oh, Metallica, You Must Burn. Wow. Like, not just the bass that just hammered you, but the vocals were dead clear. And like Lars is spitting on you, right? And your ears are getting hammered, and you're hearing all of the nuances and the details in the instrumental. This set is worth the money, 100%. I'm so thankful to have the opportunity to listen to this. Wish they were mine. But I'm saving all my money. I for a new soft ears that hopefully is, I love my Twilight. I absolutely love my soft ears Twilight. They're coming out with a new one called the Enigma, which is going to be, 2 dynamic drivers, some BAs and some ESTs in there with these huge vents. And if it's anything like the Twilight in its stage, it's going to be magical. Also up over 3K. So, but if that sucks in tuning, I would honestly buy that and be done. Absolutely. If somebody blind bought this thing, I can't see anybody hating this set and not actually just falling in love with it. It doesn't do a single thing bad unless you hate bass, unless you hate proper vocals, unless you don't like highs that are incredibly smooth and detailed. I don't know. It could be just you. This is the Tone Deaf Monk. Special message from the Lobsters. Say no to pot. I'm out.